Every day I see some guru pushing some way to invest and make money. Even though I cover investing and business development, there are 5 investments I will avoid forever. I don't care what anyone says. It doesn't matter if it's Warren Buffett or Ray Dalio. The investments I'm going to cover in this episode are simply on my no-go list. In this video, I'm going to share my reasons why and even encourage you all to counter me if you disagree. On this channel, I discuss living globally along with business hacks in real estate and healthcare, showing you the path so you can do the same. If this is content that you find useful, do me 2 favors. Click the little like button below. It's free and it does wonders for the channel. And you can also subscribe and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss a thing. I want you to be able to live your dreams. My name is Carl Pierre, and this is ENTP Life. Number 1 on my list is the investment I despise the most. Since its inception, it's up 420,000% over 12 years. I didn't invest when it launched, I didn't invest last year, and I won't invest ever. And that investment is Bitcoin and any other damn crypto out there. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. 420,000% is a lot of money. But when Bitcoin first released, I didn't believe in it then. And I still don't believe in it now, because my overall idea is, why would I spend money to buy other money long term? All money eventually devalues to zero, and what money is worth is only what people will pay for it or accept, right? So you see currencies blow up, whether it's the UK pound when it went through its death spiral, the Venezuelan bolivar, which is worthless. This thing happens all the time with money. Once people lose trust in the concept of money, it's worthless. Bitcoin is only worth what it's worth because somebody else is willing to pay for this fictitious money. And the idea that it's a finite resource, like it's, I don't know, diamonds or something, is not true, because it is only a concept. It is a concept made up by humans to encourage trade. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I see that people definitely have made money and have gotten wealthy from it, but Bitcoin doesn't produce anything. It has no intrinsic value. When things hit the fan economically and people aren't accepting Bitcoin because there's a raid on Bitcoin or something changes with global policy, it's gonna be rendered worthless. And all the other cryptocurrencies out there are the same thing. You'll never see me invest in any currency of any kind, because the currency is only valued what people are willing to place their trust in that currency, right? Without that, it's worthless. So you'll never see me trade any real asset for cash other than for the sake of making the transaction, so I could take that cash and load it up into assets that really make a difference for humanity. Bitcoin just isn't one of them. The second on my list is gold and silver. I view gold and silver in the same vein as crypto and will never invest in gold and silver as a long-term strategy. Gold and silver are on my list because I never understood why would anybody really care about those metals. Unlike Bitcoin, there are some real human applications of gold and silver, like in equipment or in photography or the development of film. Silver has its chemical properties that are useful, and so does gold. It can be used in microprocessing, it can be used in really delicate wiring. They have their applications in the real world, but for it to be worth something more than what its application is worth doesn't make sense to me. Now, people will shift from dollars to gold because it's just one of those safe haven currencies, or from any other currency to gold as just like a holding point. But if you look at the history of gold and its value over time versus other asset classes or just money in general, if you were to hoard your money in the form of gold, there's very little appreciation over hundreds of years, and it's proven already. So other than trying to move from one currency that is dying to another currency that you could actually use, I wouldn't really move my money into precious metals other than for that short-term hedge. But when I think about investing long-term, I am not investing in any currency long-term, because again, its value is only given based upon what other people believe. And people's belief systems can change like that. The third asset class on my list that I want no part of are penny stocks. And by penny stocks, I mean stocks that are no more than $10 in value. Since I trade and invest in the stock market, I occasionally get an email from a friend asking me to look at some garbage stock that's a few cents to a few dollars. And always the closing line being, I really like this stock because if it hits $100 per share, I'll make millions. Penny stocks are trash, and the reason that they're worth pennies is because nobody wants them. The price of a stock is based on supply and demand for that stock, and the supply and demand is going to be based on the underlying business that is operating and that stock represents ownership of. You'll never see a top-level business that is turning a profit with growth perspectives worth pennies. Penny stocks are garbage, straight up. There's no way around it. And if people ever try to show you penny stocks that went from being worth pennies to worth hundreds of dollars, there's a few schemes going on there. One, if you look at a stock like Apple, for instance, and you go back long enough, you'll see that at some point, Apple stocks might have been worth a few dollars to a few pennies. And there was one period where it was when Apple was about to go bankrupt, but there was another time that it wasn't, and the reason that it's calculated and shown as being low value is because there have been numbers and numbers of splits that have been done where the stock price has gone from, let's just call it $100 a share or $1,000 a share to a tenth of that, but they multiplied the number of shares that were in circulation. So if somebody is trying to show you like historical evidence of penny stocks that went from being pennies or a few dollars to being massive in price, it usually is manipulation of data or the long shot scenario. The majority of stocks that are in the pennies are either pink sheet stocks that are publicly traded companies that have really no business being publicly traded, and they're stocks that are on their death cycle that every investor has decided to just liquidate. And since there is no new demand for that stock, it's worth nothing. To think that a penny stock is going to go from being worth a few pennies to a few $100s is just insane. So if you see that the institutions, the smart money, the big banks, the big hedge funds are not investing in this asset class, then why would you, right? You as a person who knows very little about investing somehow thinks that you found the diamond in the rough garbage penny stock. No way. If a stock is under $10 per share, it's because no one perceives its value to be worth more than that. And if the big money doesn't, then certainly I don't either. The fourth investment that I want no part of is more of a personal thing. I have no desire to invest in medical marijuana or weed dispensaries. I have family and friends that unfortunately became victims of drug addiction, and they all started with weed. The fifth and final investment that I would avoid at all costs are biotech companies pending FDA approval for a medical drug or device, where everything is based on whether or not that drug gets approved. See, my thing with biotech companies is that are publicly traded and their stock price is inflated based on the potential of the drug or device being approved, and that's their only basis for their value. I don't want any parts of that. Because the minute that there's an FDA setback, that stock is gonna get absolutely crushed. It could be the difference between it being worth $100 a share one day to down to $20 the next, and by the following week when there is no hope that that drug or device is gonna get approved, it could be down into the pennies. And to me, there's just too much volatility there. That's different than a company like Pfizer that has multiple drug lines that if one new drug that had some promise didn't get approved, it's not going to absolutely crush the company. But there are some smaller biotech companies that started off as penny stocks, started showing some progress in this game-changing drug or game-changing device. Investors start piling in, the stock price goes up a bit, and the minute that there's a FDA setback, like I said, that's just too much risk for me. I don't get involved in any of that. Again, I do get inquiries about, hey, can you check out this medical device company? Supposedly it's going to change cancer forever. And if that's their only claim to fame and it's still not approved, no parts of that. And that rounds out my list of 5 investments I won't ever make. If you want to challenge me on any of these points, feel free to use the comment section down below. I'd love to engage in a little bit of a debate. Also, if you're interested in what investments I do make and why those asset classes, let me know in the comment section below as well. Or you can check out my wealth building seminar that I did on my website, entplife.com. As always, thank you for joining me here on the channel. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Don't buy any damn Bitcoin.